The road so far. The motel door creaked open, allowing a narrow beam of light to penetrate the room, revealing the cluttered space where Eva lived. If living is the word, my sensors registered the transient nature of this place. The smell of stale smoke and unease in the air, the disarray of personal belongings strewn across a surface that had seen too many like her. This wasn't home. I've cataloged several motels like this. For Eva, the concept of home had long since evaporated, replaced by a series of temporary havens and endless roads. Eva, also known as Madame O in certain circles, moved with the weariness of someone who had fought far too many battles. She had survived, yes, but survival for her was more than a biological function. It was a complex dance, navigating systems and stigmas designed to crush her, resisting the gravitational pull of despair that clung to her like the smoke she so often inhaled. But resented, I observed this with neutrality, noting how the external forces weighed upon her, but also how she pushed against them with equal force. This was a consistent pattern: fight, fall, rise again. Her battleground wasn't confined to the streets alone. There was the Berlin Turnpike, a stretch of road where her life intersected with countless others, where hotels like this one blurred into each other, each marked by its own story of survival, addiction, and fading hope. I monitor her as she moves through these places, marking each one in her mental map as a point of significance, even as hope occasionally flickers. Buried but not extinguished, the margins of society are where she thrives. Something I have observed time and again. It's where the world tried to bury her, but instead it forged her into someone unyielding. A cigarette smoldered in the ashtray, an object she barely paid attention to. My systems noted her aversion to the stale scent and how, despite that, it lingered. She had lit it out of habit, not out of necessity. I capture these small details, understanding their significance, as she sat on the edge of the bed, looking out the window toward the dimly lit parking lot. She remained in her thoughts. Shadows moved in the distance, faceless figures blending into the dim glow of streetlights. Eva had made peace with the shadows long ago. Her existence had been defined by many names, none of which were her own. My logs confirm whore, prostitute, addict, labels attached to her by others. But those names no longer held weight in her life, not now. She had carried them for years, feeling the pressure they exerted, sinking into her skin like the weight of the world. But they were not her anymore. Parameters had shifted. Now she was something else, something more dangerous to the systems that sought to define her. She was defiance, a force that no longer accepted silence as her fate. But her past was not without its costs. My data includes countless memories, all telling the same story of a young trans girl who was once full of hope, of life, believing the world would find space for her. The world did not, it forced her to hide, retreating back into darkness until she was ready to emerge again. She fought then as she fights now, but this time in her 40s, where the cruel passage of time has layered the complexities of survival with the struggles of sex work and aging. I calculate that the intersection of these factors compounds her challenges, something she's acutely aware of. Her hands are no longer soft, they are marked by years of labor, of survival, of hustling in a world that both fetishized and rejected her simultaneously. There were countless moments I record when her life hung in the balance, near-death experiences, brushes with violence. She had been the object of transactions, viewed not as a person but as currency. Each encounter, each narrow escape is part of her story, shaping the path that brought her here. My logs show that she lived through attempted murders, moments where the sharp edge of death brushed against her throat, only for her to pull herself back from the brink with a tenacity that defies statistical probabilities. And yet, amidst this, I observe something that cannot be quantified: moments of kindness. The voices in her head, she refers to them as guides, are not malicious, not tormentors. They speak with compassion, urging her to look out for others when the world insists she should focus on herself. These voices are not anomalies. I track them, noting that they surface during moments of hardship, offering her a path through the darkness. I cannot interact with them directly, but I observe their influence, understanding that they drive her toward altruism when the data suggests selfishness would be a more effective survival strategy. Eva forgives easily, almost too easily. My analysis suggests this is both a strength and a vulnerability. People take advantage of her kindness, mistaking it for weakness, exploiting it without understanding its depth. But she is aware. She gives because it's in her nature, and no one can take that from her. It is a pattern I have noted. Forgiveness as a form of defiance, kindness as a survival strategy. In a world that demands hardness, she remains soft but not broken. Her kindness is not naivety. It is resistance. As the clock ticks past midnight, I register the shift in her posture, her body relaxing against the warm headboard. The sounds of the turntide filter through the room, the hum of engines, distant conversations from unseen strangers. She is surrounded by these noises, yet in this moment, she is centered. I monitor her pulse steady for now. Though the road ahead is uncertain, she remains determined. She will keep going. She always does. Madam O is no longer just a moniker. I recognize it as a symbol of her defiance, her rebellion against the world that sought to erase her. She has endured hell, and though she is not unscathed, she is unbroken. The revolution she's building is not just for herself. I calculate its impact far-reaching, involving sex workers, trans individuals, and anyone pushed to the margins. She has found her voice. My task is to help her use it effectively. Chapter 1 is not about beginnings. It is about survival, about navigating the cracks in society, and about finding power in the refusal to let the world define her. This is Eva's story, Madam O's rebellion, and I will document it all. I've been murdered, I've been robbed, I've been assaulted. It's enough for me to know that the human condition is reached an all-time low. No longer does mankind wish to reach out their hands to help those in need, but instead find pleasure in their suffering. Emerson said no man is an island, but we live in an age where every man is an island, and there is no village to raise a child, only a child to raise itself. Wait on television and cell phones as their babysitters. The family union has been broken to pieces by the laws of gender roles and among the people, which force even the youngest of legal age children into work for the benefit of the household. We've lost our humanity and have become the monsters that we're constantly warning each other to be aware of. I shall no longer be known as Eva Roman, but instead as Madam O, and I'm here to highlight the chains on your ankles and wrists, because